Jana and Kal's pre-wedding spectacle. I'm Ryan Finch, a member of the Church of the Last Unicorn. I'll be officiating tonight's ceremony. I'd like to clarify that this marriage will not be binding in Canada, but Jana and Kal will be legally married in the worlds of Narnia, Middle-earth, Westeros, and the Enchanted Forest. And, well, not yet. You'll be leaving in Cuba when you get there. Before we start, though, there are two guests missing tonight that Jana and Kal must have just left off the invitation list. So we'd like to bring them out now. These are two members of their family. They live in their living room. They actually stole her hat and put it on the back table. So that's why she's bald right now. Yeah, these two individuals are a big part of Jana and Kal's families. They spend a lot of time with them watching television. So now we're going to begin the ceremony now that everybody's here. Love, true love, brings us here today to see these two amazing individuals join their lives together. Two lives that could not be more suited for each other. These two complement each other in every way possible. They are two unique individuals cut from the same cloth in complementing patterns. Jana likes to bedazzle things. Kal likes to have his mustache and beard bedazzled. Kal likes to dress up in zany costumes. Jana likes to buy zany costumes. Jana always wanted a leprechaun. She got Kal. You missed his own hat and his bucket of gold. Kal also owns a hat for every color combination of nail polish that Jana has. So anyone who can compete with that, you know it's meant to be. True love is letting the other person be themselves and loving them all the more. It is laughing at the same things, believing in the same things, working as a team, and looking ahead while moving through life together, no matter the obstacles. Jana and Kal exemplify true love. Many guests pass along marriage advice to share with them through their RSVPs, and we've included some of that in this ceremony. The number one piece of advice given was not to go to bed angry. This is not always possible, as some issues, they just can't be sorted out right before bed, and you're really tired. So on these occasions, I suggest that the person that is angry sleep on the couch. A horrible night on the couch usually makes you forget why you were angry in the first place. Jana and Kal, remember to enjoy the little things in life, because one day you'll look back and realize those were the important things. Be accepting of each other and embrace the other's unique qualities you love and let them indulge in their crazy behavior. Remember to communicate. People are not mind readers. If something is bothering you, share it. Resentment is the only thing that comes from silence. Most of all, appreciate your partner and never take them for granted. They love you for you, and when things are difficult, it will be well worth it to have someone you can count on by your side. Tell each other how important you are to each other every day or every hour if you feel like it. Now we're going to get to their vows, which they did not write. The guests wrote them, and they were selected by the members of the wedding party. This is much in the style of a game they enjoy to play called Cards Against Humanity. So I have two sheets here, and you guys are going to read your vows to each other that your wedding party has selected for you. Jana, you can go first.
I, Jana Banana, vow to be best friends, BFF, always kiss goodnight, and build blanket forts and have movie nights with Cal.
Cal.
I, Cal, vow to eat consomme soup on my wedding night. Enjoy life every day, not just on the special days, and play Love Chicken with Jana.
So these were items that were put on the RSVPs. I'm not sure what all of them mean. I have a couple more that I'm going to read to you that make even less sense. And your wedding party spared you from these ones? Well, this one's not bad. The other one they didn't choose was Make Memories. And then the last one was, I have no idea what this is, some type of game you should play. I don't think you actually should. It says, take a laxative sleeping pill challenge in a hotel room rented in Traxy's name. So your wedding party didn't choose that. So now, by the power invested in me by the Church of the Last Unicorn, I now pronounce you Jana and Kal. You may hug the bride and kiss the groom. As the final word, remember that as you move forward together, amazing couples do not just happen, they are forged from the fiery depths of the families and friends they come from. Everyone's family is growing by one tonight. Jana and Kal are aware of this, and they want everyone here to know how important it is to have you all here celebrating that growth with them. Thank you. And that's it. You guys can leave this stage. And now we have a couple speeches to celebrate this love. First up is Jana's brother, Avery.
Hi there. So I've never done a wedding speech before. This is my first time.
Woo!
Thank you. Yes, happy anniversary to you too. This is not Jana's anniversary. She agreed to not get married on the same day as me. Okay, so 3 short stories about Jana. Story number 1. Jana was born when I was 3. As far as I know, Mom never used the actual words devil baby. Mom's not the one doing the speech, so I'll just call it like it is. Jana is mean and it's not fair, just like I always say. I'm a pacifist, so naturally I abhor the use of violence to get my way. Jana felt differently. Whenever she had a problem with me, which was often, she would sneak over and scratch me with her fingernails. At first she managed to get away with it, I think because there were no consequences. Naturally, I was way too nice to strike back. And if you're a parent, how do you punish a 3-year-old for being violent? More violence? That's not really the message you want to send, so we had a problem for a while. Eventually, our parents settled on an economic approach, which was to bill Jana 25 cents per scratch. I think the fines doubled if one of the scratches drew blood, sort of like those construction things on the highway where if there's construction workers present, the fines are twice as much. But I can't remember for sure. Now you might think the system would reduce the number of scratches I got, but no, they actually went up. The reason is what economists call a perverse incentive. Because I mean, sure, Jana lost money every time she scratched me, but I made money. And to be honest, at that age, my skin grew back pretty fast, but earning 25 cents was hard. It was a pretty good deal compared to my allowance of how much you could win in a game of Smear. So around that time is when I perfected my creepy weirdo look, which still serves me well today. At first she tried to get our parents to step in. Mom Avery's looking at me, but there was no rule against looking at people, so that didn't work, and she was forced to resort back to vigilante scratching. Cha-ching, everybody wins. I got my 25 cents and Jana got to relieve some stress. Later on, she got a BB gun. I mostly don't give her weird looks anymore. And that's how Jana taught me about economics and politics. Story number 2 is shorter. Story number 2 is about animals. Jana really loves domesticating animals. Our first cat, Bubbles, Jana trained to obedience by spinning her around and around and around and around on the floor until she was too dizzy to resist. And I still remember when Bubbles brought back a mouse on her bed in the middle of the night. She really loved that. I remember she woke us all up to tell us about it. Jana's also kept fish, hamsters, frogs, toads, a lizard, a bird, more cats, and maybe other things, not all at the same time. I seem to be able to picture her with a tarantula, but I'm pretty sure that might have been just a nightmare I had. I don't know what the point of the story is, except that Jana really likes to collect things she can keep in cages and then feed them. I don't know what that has to do with weddings. Sorry about that. Story number 3 is about the internet. Jana and I have a history together there, starting from when she used to share my dial-up account and access computers at Lakehead University and attract stalkers in chat rooms while I was online doing other stuff. This was great, except when one of her associates ended up using the same accounts as she was using and wiped the files for a few hundred people, and I got blamed because they were tracing those connections back to my computer. Still, it was all good in the end because we got kicked out of the university computers, which meant I had to find some other way to go on the internet, so I ended up getting a real job at a real internet provider. And that turned out to be better anyway, and the rest was history. And that's how Jana got me my first part-time job. Thanks, Jan. Okay, so that's me and Jana in a nutshell. Kal, I wish you two the best of luck. I especially hope she doesn't kill you. Just like every day, I hope she doesn't kill me. My advice is, don't look at her the wrong way. Yeah.
Everybody coming out tonight for this very special day that a lot of people in this room have been looking forward to for a long time. It doesn't seem that many years ago that we got the phone call that Kal had been born, and time sure has flown since that night, and here we are today. I do have some advice, marriage advice for Kal and Jana. Marriage is like a 3-ring circus. First there's the engagement ring, and then there's the wedding ring, and then there's the suffering. Try to keep the suffering to a minimum. I also recently received some advice from a married couple of 50+ years. So I asked them the secret to their long, happy marriage. And the husband told me they go out for dinner twice a week. A beautiful candlelight dinner, soft music, slow dancing. The husband goes on Fridays, the wife goes out on Tuesdays. You can do it your way. That worked for them. Being in love is just like peeing your pants. It's really obvious to everybody else, but only you know how warm it truly the feeling is. More somewhere.
Take your time, Ron.
So I'd just like to say congratulations. You look fantastic. The whole wedding party looks fantastic. Lots of smiles. Let's have some good drinks tonight, some good dancing, and let's all have a good time and just a real good warm-up for Cuba in 1 week. Woo!
We're now going to have some words from the best
Hi, I'm Brendan. I brought my friend Jen Bryan. Help out and play some violin while I'm up here talking. Also, she's pretty nice to look at, if you're not into beards. If I could just say a few words, I'd be a much better public speaker. Alright. How long can a best man's speech be? Might have to do 2 tonight. It feels a bit strange to be up here in front of everyone without an instrument. I've been a performing amateur musician since I was 16 or 17. Maybe not the most experienced or confident speaker though. Maybe not the most eloquent. I don't do well under pressure, or in large crowds, or with strangers. I mumble a lot, and I flush, I get sweaty and really nervous. Sometimes I start to ramble. Anyway, I'm not big on being in front of people, but in my capacity as best man, I felt it was important to come up and say a few words about Cal. I may be wearing the best man's pants, but the real best man is Cal. Over the years, we've been next-door neighbors, co-workers, traveling companions, and roommates in 3 different houses, 1 motel, and a tent. We've made music together, constructed and crafted, hitchhiked, moved across town and across the country. We've enjoyed drinks, both big and small. Given the opportunity, Cal will enthusiastically mix a drink that kills cows at 100 meters. Keep playing. That's why you're here. I don't want silence while I'm speaking.
I was there for 10 days, because that would be too long.
Jen says she hasn't slept for 10 days because that would be too long. Anyway, Cal is seriously a wonderful man and loyal friend. He's a sympathetic ear, caring and extremely generous, and an endless source of support and encouragement for me and presumably others. Also, he gives really good hugs. It's a tremendous honor for me to stand up here with him, both today for the sham wedding and in the coming days at the real one. Not just to stand with Cal, but his bride as well, who I think is magnificent. Really, I can't imagine a better match. Thank you, Jen. As a highly experienced bachelor, my insight regarding things of a marital nature is limited. That being said, a marriage, I suspect, is a lot like a small, damp tent in northern Alberta. They're only as enjoyable as the person you're sharing them with. Jana keeps as good as it gets. Thank you everyone for coming out, and have a great night.
Mo or Maurice. I only know him as Mo, but I think his name is actually Maurice.
Hi, my name is Morris. And I'm Jana and Kal. First, I want to thank everyone who had to give up the opening weekend of what the heck? It's still ice fishing season? To be here today. I'm just going to say a few words about my favorite daughter. Jana grew up in her early years on the mean streets of County Park. Jana was a cute kid, even when she was small. Oh, by the way, anyone that didn't know Jana back then, Cal's grandmother made a beautiful photo montage at the easel out by the front that has photos of Cal and Jana when they were younger. For those that did know her back then, but are now too old and decrepit to remember much past last Tuesday, well, Al and Harold, you can look at the pretty pictures too. Anyway, growing up there, she had to fight off the neighborhood boys who were all trying to beat up Abe. Later on, we moved the little hellion out to the country in the middle of nowhere, where she couldn't cause so much trouble. I think it was there that she developed a fondness for animals, bugs, worms, turtles, well, pretty much anything with eyeballs. I don't think she's ever really got to liking spiders yet. Jana also likes shiny things. Anything shiny. If it twinkles, if it blinks, sparkles, whatever. She's got to get one. I read somewhere on the internet that they can see Jana's house at night from the space station. Jana always seems to be in a good mood. She can always make a joke about something that might ruin another person's day. She just moves on to something that makes her happy. Hint, thinks shiny things. Jana and Kal seem to be a perfect match. I don't think I've ever seen them argue about anything. Even the last couple of stressful months doing all their planning and work for this wedding, while working full time, they never seemed to disagree about anything. If my wife and I would have had to do all that stuff, one of us would be here in bandages or limping pretty bad. As a matter of fact, I haven't spoken a word to my wife in 3 weeks, as it is. That's just because she doesn't like me interrupting her. All that thinking about Kal and Jana not fighting reminded me of my Grandma and Grandpa's marriage. I asked Grandpa, I called him Grandpa because that was his real name. Anyway, I asked him how he and Grandma were married so long that they never argued. He said, "Sit down, sonny boy, I'll tell you a story." He called me sonny boy, but that wasn't my real name. You remember right at the beginning I told you what my real name was? So anyway, he says, late at night on the way home from my wedding reception, in my horse and buggy, I think it might have been a Mustang horse. Coincidence? Jana has a Mustang. Anyway, the horse suddenly stopped in the middle of the road. Grandpa had to get out his buggy whip to get the horse started. Grandma looked at the horse and said, "That's strike one." A little further down the road, the horse stopped again. Grandpa had to use the whip again. Grandma said, "That's strike two." When the horse stopped the third time, Grandpa reached back for the whip, but before he could get it, Grandma grabbed the rifle and shot the horse dead in the middle of the road. She said, "Strike three." Grandpa was furious and ranted and raved, saying, "Are you crazy? Now I'll have to buy a new horse, and now we'll have to walk home in the dark. What's the matter with you, you lunatic?" Grandma looked at him and said, "That's strike one." They never argued again after that. Anyways, I'm happy and proud that Jana has found happiness with Kal, and I hope she knows that her mother and I are happy for her and think she's the best thing in our life. Oh, but we want some grandkids too, just so we can be sure.
Cal, I'd like to say a couple quick thank yous, and I think we're finished with speaking out loud through a microphone. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, very much for coming out tonight. this night means a lot to me and to Jana, and I'm just so glad to see that everyone is here having a good time the way that we wanted them to.
We've had a lot of cry.
And that's how that goes.
Yeah, the only other thing is Cal wanted to thank all the out-of-town guests, if you guys can stand up. Because we're not going to go through names, but anyone who's here from out of town, Perillo County. Share a special day with them. So that concludes this segment. There'll be more alcohol available, and there'll be some music starting out. And everybody enjoy themselves. Thank you very much for showing up.
I'm a magical green alien unicorn. I'm a magical blue alien unicorn. Do you like me? I like you. I heard there's two other really cool people that like each other too. We should be like them and run away to Cuba. Okay, I love you.
That's it.